In this episode, I want to touch on a question that I had at one point and a question that I'm sure you may have. And that is how to become a falconer or how to get started in falconry. Now this can vary a little bit from state to state, but in general, the process is the same across the board. And I'm going to give you a rundown of that. First thing is learn and experience what falconry is. And in general, falconry is a hunting sport where we utilize birds of prey to hunt and capture quarry. It's not a cool way to have a pet. And you run across that a lot. This guy just the other day was talking to, he was asking me about falconry. I was explaining it. And he said, well, I'm not too keen on the hunting aspect of things, but I think it would be cool, to have as a pet. It's not falconry. These are not pets or wild animals. That's not the deal. So one of the best ways you can learn what falconry is books. There are tons of books about falconry. There are good online resources. The Modern Apprentice website is a good one. An even better way to learn and experience firsthand what falconry is to go on a hunt with a falconer. Meet some falconers, go on some hunts with them. And one of the best ways to achieve this is you can get in contact with your Department of Wildlife or your Department of Natural Resources and ask them for a falconry packet. And they will give you the state regulations, and some states will give you a contact list of falconers in the state. Others will point you towards a falconry club or association that's in your state. From there, get in contact with falconers and just ask to go on hunts and go with them and see what it's all about. If your state has a club or association, they will have functions. Make sure to attend those. They'll have meets where members get together, go on hunts. Some of them will have apprentice seminars, which are geared directly towards people who are new and looking to learn and experience what falconry is. But utilize those resources to experience firsthand and learn what falconry is. And once you've done that and you've decided, hey, this is for me, I want to do this, I'm ready for this lifestyle change and to pursue this sport, you need to find a sponsor. In falconry, an apprentice needs a sponsor to take them on for at least 2 years. Now, that's a big commitment. It's not something to be taken lightly. So don't just, go to a falconer that you barely know or don't know at all and say, hey, I want to be a falconer. Will you be my sponsor? Do not do that. It's a big commitment for somebody to make for a stranger. So, go to the meets, go to the functions, go on multiple hunts with falconers. And if you find somebody that you think would work out, that you mesh well with, maybe, hopefully close to you, and you've spent some time with them, become friends, went on, a few hunts, what have you, they may take it upon themselves to offer to sponsor you, or at that point, it's more reasonable for you to bring it up and ask them. So once you have a sponsor, you found somebody that's willing to take you on, you need to take the exam. Now that said, this is one of those things that can vary from state to state. Some states you can take the exam first, and that's great because that gives you something to show a potential sponsor. Like, hey, I've studied this much, I passed the exam, that's great. Other states, like my own, you have to find a sponsor first, then you can take the exam. So, as far as the exam, in general, there are around 100 questions, and you have to score an 80% or better to pass. And it varies a little bit from state to state. It'll cover things like species identification, anatomy, health and medical issues, equipment, things of that nature. The exam can be difficult, but if you use the right resources and you study seriously, should have no problem passing it. One of the best resources out there studying for the exam, and that's highly recommended, is the California Hawking Club Apprentice Study Guide. I use that myself, and it's recommended in almost all states. Just be aware though, if you get a study guide from a state that you don't live in, don't pay attention to the state regulations. Make sure you study your state regulations and not the one in the study guide, but everything else will be relevant. So you take the exam, you pass it, you got your sponsor. That's the hardest part out of the way. You got the ball rolling, you're pretty much in there. Following that are things like getting your equipment together, building your mew, which is where you house the bird, getting your state inspection done, then you'll trap your first bird, or in some states you can purchase captive bred. Just depends, again, you have to check your state regulations. And then you'll go through the manning and training process and so on, but we won't cover in this episode. So that is the general gist of things and the steps to becoming a falconer and getting started in falconry. If you would like some more detailed explanations of anything, feel free to leave a comment below and I'll reply, or I may do a Q&A video to address those. And if you would like to know more about, what are some good books for studying, anything else like that, I may do an episode on ones that I used and things of that nature. On top of that, keep watching the channel. I am at that point where I have a sponsor and I recently passed my exam. So right now I'm getting all my equipment together and setting up my mews to get ready for my inspection. So I'm going to be doing videos of all that. Show what equipment I had to buy and make, what's required for the inspection. I'll show you how I set up my mew. And beyond that, I plan to do video when I capture my first bird, the manning process, first flights, first hunt, all that stuff. I'll be doing videos of, so you can follow along and see how I go through the journey and the process of becoming a falconer, and hopefully it'll shed some light on it all and help you decide if you want to pursue it or not. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and check out any other videos I may have uploaded. Take care.